Hello and welcome to Got Clutter, Get Organized, the conversation. And of course, it's just going to be a solo episode with me this month. And actually, leading up to the new year, each Monday, the first Monday, I will be doing a solo episode. And today's topic is how to fight procrastination. We're going to talk about three areas. We're going to talk about your home, your workspace, as well as your life. So let's get started. And of course, I'm going to be looking at my notes because I've got like 5 tips for each area, about a total of 15 strategies. So the first one is we're going to talk about the home. When you are fighting procrastination, particularly when it comes to getting things done at home, you have to break the project down, whatever it is, whether it's organizing, whether it's cleaning, whether it is getting prepared for an event, but break the project down and the smaller things. I give the example of maybe you are going to tackle a garage. Break it down. First, maybe just get rid of everything that's trash and needs to be recycled. Then the next thing you do is you actually get rid of things you need to donate, give away, or sell. Then you're left with what needs to be organized. So you break it down. But also, the second thing you need to do is to make sure you schedule. Because once you have it on your schedule, then you can get yourself prepared mentally. Sometimes, at least for me, when I'm working on projects, physically get myself prepared because that way you are scheduling specific times. When you will work on the project, you can stay focused on the project, you don't get distracted. Then, of course, part of really conquering that procrastination at home is really making sure you declutter regularly. Because if you do little things each and every day, like I challenge my group, my Facebook group, I challenge them a couple of ways. One, every Toss It Tuesday, I challenge them to get rid of one thing. But also, I'm challenging them to put things away. So when you do things like that regularly, you're not overwhelmed by the rooms and the closets and the garages and the basements. But also, when you are actually procrastinating, it's important to really set some priorities. Now, you may look at that closet and think it's overwhelming. You don't feel like doing, you keep putting it off. But you know what? If you set a priority to say, I'm going to at least get rid of the things I don't want anymore, and adding to it, I'm going to give them to somebody I know will appreciate it, that will help you as well. So making sure you set those priorities. And then, of course, sometimes when we are doing things, it's great to reward ourselves. Maybe all of a sudden you clear out the closet and it looks great. Reward yourself with some new hangers if you need them. Or maybe all of a sudden you clear that dining room table off. Reward yourself with maybe some flowers. So again, and just recapping in regards to the procrastination at home, you want to basically break the project down. You want to create a schedule, so set a timeline for your project, but you also want to declutter regularly. That means take your recycling day. Some of you, I know you live in condos and apartments, so you don't necessarily have a day, but set a day. This is the day where every week I'm going to get rid of something. I know I talked to a fellow organizer and we both get excited the night before trash day because that's the time we can move stuff out. And then, of course, you want to set priorities like what is important? What's the most important thing? The to-do list, keeping track of things. And sometimes even with that, we can get a little overwhelmed. So maybe if you do just one thing, if you begin to move stuff out, one item a week, that's 52 items by the end of the year. And of course, making sure you actually reward yourself. So those are some strategies for procrastination at home. Now I want to move to procrastination in the workspaces. Again, making sure you set clear goals. All of a sudden, you're looking like, Janet, my workspace is an absolute mess. And my advice to you on your workspace, now some of you just got corners, some of you have offices, but always work with the stuff that's furthest away from. For example, you can see, I'm not even pointing there. You can see these magazine boxes. That's furthest away from me. So I can actually look through there and see what I need and what I don't need. Because everything that's like in front of me, I'm using it constantly, daily and weekly. So think about that. So always work furthest away from. But also, it's good sometimes just to minimize the distractions when we are in the workplace. And that could be unnecessary apps because a lot of times we'll see an app, we'll think it's really good and it's great, but sometimes we can go overboard with all the apps. We've got all these apps, all these platforms. Simplify. A lot of times they have apps that actually do everything you need. Look into that. But maybe think about all the things and all the tasks you have to do and simplify. I had a conversation with a colleague yesterday, and she was talking about all the apps she removed from her cell phone. Sometimes we have to do that because that can be very distracting and keep us from doing what we need to do. Time blocking. And I would love to know how many of you time block. That time blocking allows you to block out specific tasks during specific times. For example, for me, Thursdays is always podcast day. But you may have, for example, a lot of us grew up in homes where Saturday was the day you cleaned. Maybe you had another day, Sunday was the day you cooked. It's time blocking. I know for me, time blocking means that there are certain days I do certain activities. A lot of times my administrative activities are done on Monday mornings. There are other activities. Again, I do my podcasting on Thursday. A lot of times I'm working with clients on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So that allows me to focus on specific tasks, not get distracted, but also not get overwhelmed by all the other things on my to-do list. So think about that as well. Prioritizing a task. And a lot of times, we sometimes feel like we get into a routine. But when our workspaces and in our careers and in our businesses, we need to do certain things every single day or even every week, which is why time blocking is good. And one of the things I do is I actually have a list, and my list does not change from week to week. There's certain things I need to get done each and every. So therefore, I create that list. I have a planner, which I'm going to show you in a minute. I have a planner, and basically, I write that list. Those are my priorities. It's usually 5 things. There's 5 days in a week. I don't try to overwhelm myself. And therefore, I actually make sure, okay, so I've got 3 hours blocked out on Monday. So I can do all these tasks because I think sometimes when we block our time and we actually list those tasks, we can get things done a lot more effectively and efficiently than we actually think we can. And then, of course, taking your breaks. And this is one of my things that I always try to promote when I am working and specifically doing webinars and speaking to people in corporate America, fellow businessmen and women, is take your breaks because your breaks allow you to pause. Your breaks allow you to recharge. First of all, we're in front of these computer screens and devices all day long, so our eyes need a rest, but also we need to take a moment just to pause, recharge ourselves. It's like with cars. We're using a lot of energy. We're going here and there and everywhere. So at some point, we need to pull over and we actually need to get either more gas or get plugged into more electric. So think about that. So making sure you take your breaks. So again, set clear goals, making sure you minimize those distractions so that you can stay focused. And then of course, use time blocks and prioritize tasks and make sure you take your breaks. Make sure you, and even for those of you who do work from home, walk around the block. At least go outside. Allow yourself to get some sunshine. So those are some of the things that'll help you with procrastination in the workplace. And now let's talk about life. But before I do, I just wanted to share with you. See, this is my planner. My planner is on 2 days. And on this side, I have a work to-do list and a personal to-do. And I write everything I need to get done that week in work and in my life. I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes. And that allows me to focus on that list. So when I have my block time, I focus on that list. I go down it. And sometimes I can get everything done. Other times I can get things done during the week. But if I have that list, it helps me. So last in life, again, realistic goals. Do you want to accomplish? Do you want to? A lot of people I'm amazed at how many of my friends are like runners. They do marathons. Maybe you just want to be able to spend more time with family and friends. Maybe you want to learn a new skill. What is it? What do you want to do? And then whatever it is, you break it down. Let's think about people who do marathons. It's not that they just say, well, I want to do it and just run out there and do a 5K or 10K. They break it down. And that's what we have to do. Even sometimes with the little projects we want to do around our home. Maybe you want to redo a piece of furniture. Well, you don't just like wake up and do it. You have to plan time. You have to get your supplies. You may even have to move it depending on if you're doing some painting to it, stripping paint, etc. But also, in order to really, fight procrastination in our personal life and the life, is we have to stay organized because the clutter is distracting. The clutter takes our focus away from things. The clutter overwhelms us. So, as I share with you, use planners. If you want to use a digital calendar, use that digital calendar. And of course, making sure you schedule those things. Like I have a schedule. I know that usually Friday evenings is when I do my meal prep because I like just laying a little longer in the bed and staying a little longer in the bed on Saturday morning. But I love doing my food prep for the rest of the week, for the coming week, I should say, on a Friday, because that truly saves me time. And of course, we need to practice self discipline when it comes to fighting that procrastination. And that means making sure we stick to whatever routine is. Because I know a lot of you are probably like me. You do not like getting up early and exercising. Neither do I. But I've realized in order to be healthy, because for those of you who don't know, at one point I was at a health fair. I won't give you the long story. The short story is I was at a health fair. They took my blood pressure 3 times and it was near stroke levels. I never want to experience it again. So therefore, I make sure I eat right, which is why I set aside time to do the meal planning. And then I also make sure I exercise. And exercise varies for me, but I stick to that routine. And then, of course, sometimes we just need to have accountability, which is why, you know, I work with clients. I have worked with one client who wanted some life organizing goals accomplished. And I'm happy to say, because meeting her once a week, once a month, I should say, not once a week, once a month, we get together. And as a result of that, accountability, she no longer has a car note. She no longer has a credit card bill for one of her creditors. She had to pay off another major bill. And she's happy. She's like, I thought when I would have this extra money, she says, but I don't want to. So sometimes having that accountability, I have accountability. I actually, every Thursday morning, it's a routine, 7 a.m., I have a group coaching session with other business and professional women. So sometimes we need those things just to keep us on track. And it keeps me on track of all the things that I want to do so that I can continue to give you all the resources that I love sharing. And of course, sometimes we have to make adjustments. One of the major adjustments I've had to make is I've had to really embrace sometimes I even need to just like slow down because for so long, and it's been a long time since I've done this business, but for some reason, I was still in the mindset I had to work 8 hours every day. I don't have to do that anymore. I can work because I know how to block my time. I can get my things done. I still work with clients. I still cross things off of my list. But you know what? There are times when I just like sitting and I like actually binge watching The Repair Shop, which is one of my favorite shows because it allows me to just kind of sit there and enjoy and just see other people when they bring in items and how it's restored. So I'm hoping some of these tips on how to fight procrastination in your home, in your workplace, and in your life will help you move forward with whatever it is you need to work on. Whether in your home you decide you want to tackle that closet because it's a new season, and just knowing, just sometimes just going in and just taking things out you don't wear, you don't want to wear, give them a home and eventually organize them. Or maybe it's your workspace. You're feeling like, you know what? I got a lot of stuff in this little small space. And sometimes it's letting go and knowing it's okay to let go of stuff that you no longer need. I mean, do we really need transparencies anymore when we've got all these wonderful fancy PDFs and PowerPoints that we can use? And even in your life, knowing that, yes, I want to eat healthy. So maybe in order to do that, it means setting aside a time to just make some meal in advance so that when you are hungry, but you're also tired, that you can actually just pop things in the microwave and really have a healthy meal. And you're probably saving some money as well. So I hope these tips and strategies help you. Please comment below and let me know. And of course, if you have any questions, make sure you comment below. But also, make sure, if you haven't already done so, making sure that you attend my upcoming webinar. I'm going to be talking about time, how to conquer procrastination, and so much more. So make sure you always follow me on all my social media. And of course, make sure you check out the links. But until next time, I want you to have a clutter-free day. But most of all, you have an amazing week.